Have any of you ever lost something important or valuable? I've got a silly story about something like that happened to me. When I was in grade 2, Pokemon came out, and I got into collecting the cards. I was even lucky enough to pull the most valuable card, a first edition Charizard. Just to give you an idea, it would be worth, on average, $23,000 right now. But I was too young to know what I had. And it came with a little card that had the names of each Pokemon. And the one at the top was Alakazam, and Charizard was like 3 or 4 down. And I had just begun to read, so I didn't understand alphabetical order. So I thought, first is best. I want that one. And a boy at recess offered to trade me. So I was like, jackpot, I got the best card. When I got home and told my brother, I'll never forget the expression on his face. He was horrified. He was ashamed of me. He was like, how could you have done this? But I mean, it's ridiculous as I think back. It's just a card. But we do lose important things in this life. Jesus tells us in the Sermon on the Mount, don't store your treasures here on earth, where moths and vermin will destroy it, where thieves will break in and steal it. Store your treasures in heaven, where moth and vermin won't destroy, where thieves don't break in and steal. For wherever your treasure is, there your heart will also be. Now, for anyone who's really lost something that they care about, this might be, obvious at face value, but I'm going to spell it out for you today. There's lots of temptations for all of us to put our treasure in earthly things. What does Jesus mean by that? He means things like maybe it's physical beauty for you or physical prowess. Maybe you want to be as strong as Liam. Or maybe you want to be pretty. But all that beauty, all that physical prowess will fade. Maybe you want to be as rich as Jeff Bezos or richer, have an obscene amount of money. You might be able to buy lots of things now, but it won't do anything for you once you're dead. Maybe you care about your reputation. You want to be the next famous TikTok star. But your reputation will fade. Eventually, no one will know you. You might even say, you know what, I don't care about all that stuff, but I'm going to leave a legacy for future generations. The reality is that even that doesn't matter. Now, all of us want our lives to have meaning. All of us would say, I want my life to matter. I want to do things that matters. But the reality is that everything in this world is fading away. Our scientists, our cosmologists know that at one point our universe will no longer be life permitting. What does that mean? The second law of thermodynamics says that any closed system will eventually lose energy to entropy. So that may not make sense to you, but think of a coffee cup with hot coffee in it. Without doing anything to it, eventually the heat energy will be lost. Or think of a filled balloon. It's got all this energy pushing the sides out, but without doing anything to it, eventually it'll begin to sag. That's what's going to happen with our universe. Eventually, the energy will be used up, and all we'll be left with is a cold, lightless, lifeless husk that's moving ever outwards. The reality is that individually and collectively, our destiny is the grave. And if all we have is what we've put into this world, our lives are going to be meaningless and pointless. H.G. Wells illustrates this in one of his books, The Time Machine. The time traveler wants to see what happens, what's the fate of mankind. So he goes into the distant future. And the world has no life. All there is some lichens and moss. The earth, he can see, is orbited by a huge red sun. And the only sounds are the blowing of the wind and the rippling of the waves. Everything is silent. He goes back to his own time, but to what? That slow, endless pursuit of pointlessness? If I were an atheist, and that was all that was going to be for me, I'd be broken. Don't spend your life on just earthly things. Follow Jesus towards the heavenly things.